All right, buckle up everyone, because today's deep dive is going to be a wild ride. We're jumping headfirst into the world of institutional trading in crypto. That's right, and we're not just talking theory here. We're going deep into the real tactics these big players use to influence the market.
And the best part is, we're not relying on some outdated textbook. Our source material is as real as it gets.
Raw and unfiltered, straight from the source, a Twitter thread packed with insider insights.
Exactly. It's like we're getting a peek behind the curtain, seeing how the pros actually operate.
Think of it like this. It's kind of like eavesdropping on the conversations happening in those Wall Street boardrooms. Yeah, those closed-door discussions that usually determine where the market goes. So let's decode this whole institutional mindset thing. This Twitter thread keeps mentioning fake moves, which sounds, honestly, kind of sus. What's the deal with that?
Okay, well, imagine you're trying to, say, maneuver a yacht through a harbor, but it's super crowded.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Lots of boats, not much space.
Right. Institutions, they're dealing with massive volumes, right? So they can't just make a move without potentially tanking the entire market.
That makes sense.
They need what we call liquidity. It's basically the ability to buy or sell an asset easily without causing huge price swings. And they get that, in part, by creating these fake moves.
So they're basically trying to shake things up on purpose.
Exactly. And they're using our own predictable behavior as retail traders against us.
Wait, seriously?
Think about it. How many times have you seen people panic selling at the first sign of a dip, or FOMOing into a pump without really thinking it through?
More times than I can count, to be honest. Emotions can get the best of us in the heat of the moment.
For sure. And institutions, they're masters at exploiting these tendencies. The thread even mentions this specific window, 15:00 to 15:30 Saudi local time. It's almost like they've got this timetable they're working off of.
Wow, so it's like knowing what time the casino is most likely to rig the roulette wheel.
Kind of, yeah. It's all about understanding the patterns and using them to your advantage. But hey, before we go full conspiracy theory, let's talk about how we can actually use this knowledge to our advantage. The thread dives into some key market indicators: DXY, BTCD, and USDTD.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to break these down. What are we looking at here?
These are like the instruments on our trader's dashboard, and they can tell us a lot about what's happening beneath the surface.
Okay, so starting with DXY, what is it exactly?
So DXY is the US dollar index. It essentially measures the strength of the US dollar against a basket of other major currencies.
Right, makes sense.
Now, here's the thing. If the dollar surges, like it is now, sitting around 101.114, it can create this ripple effect throughout the market.
Interesting. So even if everything seems great in the crypto world, a strong dollar could still bring things down.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. What about BTCD? Isn't that just about, well, Bitcoin's price?
It's related to Bitcoin's price, but it's more nuanced than that. BTCD, which stands for Bitcoin dominance, is currently at 57.72%, and it essentially measures Bitcoin's market share relative to all other cryptocurrencies. So it's more about its influence over the entire market.
Interesting. So a higher BTCD means, well, exactly, more people are buying Bitcoin.
A rising BTCD often means money is flowing out of what we call altcoins, basically everything that's not Bitcoin, and back into, the perceived safety of Bitcoin.
Oh, I see. So even if I'm laser focused on a particular altcoin and it has like amazing news, new partnership, maybe even a token burn, but then I see BTCD is climbing.
That's when you need to pay attention. Because that altcoin, despite the good mirrors, its price might actually dip as money rotates back into Bitcoin.
Whoa. Okay, so that's actually super useful to know. It's like deciphering a secret language.
Exactly. And speaking of secret languages, let's talk about USDTD.
Yeah, USDT, that's Tether, right? The stablecoin. What kind of signal can that possibly give?
You'd think a stable coin, some of that's supposed to be, stable, wouldn't tell us much, but it's actually a fantastic indicator of market sentiment.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How so?
Right now, USDTD is at 5.77%. If that number starts to rise, it often means people are getting scared. They're moving their money out of riskier assets and parking it in what they perceive as the safest option.
Oh, so it's like a fear gauge.
Exactly.
Right.
Even if Bitcoin is only down a small amount, like 2%, but you see USDTD spiking.
Red flag. Got it. This is amazing. It's like we've been looking at individual trees when we should have been studying the entire forest this whole time.
Exactly. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. This Twitter thread goes even deeper, outlining specific tactics to actually analyze these indicators. It even gets into using the Pomodoro technique for trading.
Hold on. The Pomodoro technique. Like the time management method. You're saying we can use that for trading.
Oh, yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
We're back. And, I got to admit, this Pomodoro technique for trading thing has piqued my interest. So instead of staring at charts for hours on end, hoping for some kind of divine inspiration, I can actually break it down into these manageable, focused intervals.
It's a game changer, honestly.
Okay.
Because think about it. The Pomodoro technique at its core, it's all about, maximizing focus, maximizing productivity.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, trading, it's a mental marathon.
Yeah.
And so this thread suggests dedicating, say, 25 minutes to really honing in, just laser focus on analyzing, your DXY, your BTC, your USDTD. Take that short break, 5 minutes, reset. Come back, move on to your next set of indicators.
So instead of getting lost in the weeds, I'm strategically, I'm compartmentalizing my analysis in a way.
Exactly.
I have to admit, I'm guilty of this chart staring.
Oh, yeah.
You just sit there and you stare at the charts and you think that somehow something magical is going to happen. And honestly, I think it leads to more confusion than clarity.
It's such a common trap. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
But with a more structured approach, like this Pomodoro method, you're way less likely to miss those crucial signals that are going to make or break your trades. Plus, the thread even provides a sample, a Pomodoro timetable tailored specifically for crypto trading.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like having a personalized training schedule, but for your trading mind.
Okay. I like this. I'm into this.
Yeah.
But let's get a little bit more tactical here. How does this Pomodoro analysis, how do we actually put it into practice?
Sure. So the thread goes into some specifics, right? It emphasizes analyzing your support and resistance levels.
Right, of course.
But not just on the daily charts, right? It encourages us to really zoom out, look at those higher time frames, like the weekly chart, for example. Remember, institutions, they're playing the long game here.
So it's about seeing the bigger picture, right? Instead of getting caught up in that day-to-day noise.
Exactly, zooming out.
Okay. But how does that translate to me actually making a trade? How does that help me?
Okay, so imagine this, right? You're looking at the weekly chart, right?
Okay. Got my trading view pulled up.
And you see that Bitcoin, over the past couple of weeks, it's bounced off of this same price level multiple times.
Okay.
Right. Like clockwork. That's a pretty strong support level, right?
Right.
So now, let's say in your, dedicated Pomodoro session, you notice Bitcoin's approaching that level again.
Okay.
That's huge. That's a crucial point to start really paying attention. The thread highlights how institutions will often manipulate these levels, right? So they'll place these large orders just below support to trigger those stop loss orders.
Oh, man.
And then boom, cascade of selling.
So they're using our fear against us. That's brutal.
It's strategic, But by understanding their tactics, right, and by really diligently, analyzing those key levels during your Pomodoro sessions, you can anticipate these moves and actually profit from them.
Dude, this is incredible. It's like we're learning to see the matrix here.
It's all about adopting that institutional mindset. They're disciplined, they manage their risks, very meticulously, and they have this deep understanding of market psychology. And that's what this thread's really giving us. It's not just about giving us random indicators or signals. It's giving us the framework to think like the big players do.
Yeah. Okay. This is way more valuable than just knowing this is, the moving average or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a whole new way of thinking.
It's a different ballgame.
Okay. But we haven't even touched on sentiment analysis yet.
Right.
The thread mentioned going beyond, just crypto Twitter for this, right? What did it say?
It did.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets really interesting, honestly, because, short-term sentiment, the kind of panic or euphoria that you see erupt on crypto Twitter every 5 seconds.
Every 5 seconds, yeah.
Can be useful, right, to a degree. But this thread, it wants us to go deeper.
All right, so we're back. And my curiosity is definitely piqued. You mentioned this deeper market sentiment, and I'm ready to unravel this mystery. I mean, crypto Twitter, it's like a roller coaster of emotions, right?
Yeah.
1 minute, everyone's shouting to the moon, and the next, it's all doom and gloom.
It's definitely a wild ride, that's for sure.
So is there a way to, filter out all that noise, all those knee-jerk reactions, and actually find those real valuable insights?
Absolutely. Think of crypto Twitter like the chatter in a crowded restaurant, right?
Okay, I can see that.
It's loud, it's reactive, and most importantly, it rarely actually tells you what the chef is planning for the next course.
Right.
And this thread, it wants us to understand the chef's menu. It wants us to understand the long-term sentiment.
Okay, so we're not just talking about whether people are, feeling bullish or bearish today, but over weeks, months, even years. That's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different level of analysis.
So how do we even begin to track something like that?
That's where things get really interesting. This is where the real detective work comes in. The thread mentions using these sentiment analysis tools
Oh, okay.
that aggregate data from, well, pretty much everywhere. News articles, forum discussions, even the specific language used in economic reports. It's about piecing together this mosaic of sentiment rather than just relying on, one single source.
So instead of just checking crypto Twitter 5 minutes before I'm about to buy the dip, I should be looking at these broader, these longer term sentiment trends.
Exactly. Think bigger picture.
Okay, so what am I looking for exactly?
Look for those shifts, like the tectonic plates of the market, right?
Yeah.
Those really significant movements.
Okay, yeah.
So for example, let's say, the news right now, it's all bearish.
Right.
Bitcoin just dipped below a key support level. But these sentiment tools, these broader tools that you're looking at, they're showing this, this growing sense of optimism over the past few weeks. Maybe there's even been this surge in institutional investment that's been happening kind of behind the scenes.
Okay.
That's a powerful signal.
It's like having this secret radar system that cuts through all the noise.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're combining this, this long-term sentiment analysis with the technical indicators we were talking about earlier. The DXY, BTCD.
Putting it all together.
All starting to click now.
It's about becoming, what I like to call a market multitasker, understanding the institutional tactics, deciphering those key indicators, and also gauging the long-term mood, the sentiment of the entire market. And that's, I think, what's so valuable about this thread. It's not giving us a single trading strategy. It's giving us this whole new way to look at the markets.
This deep dive has been amazing. Seriously, a masterclass in market analysis. We've learned to think like institutions. We've learned how to use these powerful indicators, how to incorporate, time management techniques with the Pomodoro method, and even how to, tap into the collective consciousness of the market through sentiment analysis.
It's been quite the journey.
What a journey. So to everyone listening, keep that sense of curiosity alive, right?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to dive deep, ask questions, challenge what you think you know. Because the more you understand about the forces that actually move this market, the better equipped you'll be to, not just survive, but thrive.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
Until next time, everyone, happy trading.